Before the town had concrete roads, before the gods were ignored, and long before cell phones and loud motorcycles tore through the quiet evenings, there was the river. River Abony. It slithered like a black serpent between the hills and the forests, wide and deep, never drying even in the cruelest dry season. The people of Ijula village knew to speak of River Abony with respect. You didn't spit in its direction. You didn't whistle near it at night. And you certainly didn't joke about the whispers that came from its banks during full moons. They said the river had a spirit.
A she.
A being older than time, who could be gentle when pleased but furious when forgotten. Among the people of Ijula, there lived a woman named Yemisi. She was once the daughter of a priest, but during her youth, she had turned away from the gods and chosen love over ritual. Her husband, a palm wine tapper named Bamidil, was poor but charming. They built a life from laughter, from shared roasted yams, from simple evenings under the stars. When Yemisi became pregnant, she visited the village healer only once. She believed she could handle childbirth without charms or chance. "My mother birthed 6 of us like goats in the bush," she laughed. "So will I." But when the child came, the laughter ended. The baby was born silent, limp, and cold. No wails, no movement. Bamidil screamed for help while Yemisi sat frozen, her arms cradling something that seemed already taken by the spirit world. The village women poured hot water, rubbed the child's chest, blew air into its mouth. Nothing. Then Yemisi remembered. In her girlhood, her father used to say, "The river gives, but it always takes something back." That night, she did something no one else dared. She wrapped the lifeless child in white cloth and crept alone through the forest path to the riverbank. The moon was a sharp sickle in the sky. Frogs croaked. Wind rustled the raffia palms. And the river, oh, the river flowed like an old song. Yemisi knelt beside it and whispered, "Abony, spirit of the water, hear me. Take me, take my pride, take anything, but let her live. If you wake her, I promise she will be yours when the time is right. She will serve you.
Just not now.
Please." The water gurgled. The baby cried. Yemisi gasped and clutched the wriggling infant, warm now, her skin glowing under the moonlight. She looked around. No one was there. But deep in the river's current, something shifted. From that night on, Yemisi never spoke of her offering. The child grew strong, beautiful, and bright. They named her Efua, which meant born on a Friday, but more privately, Yemisi thought of it as the one who was taken and returned. Efua grew up with a quiet grace that people noticed before they understood. She wasn't loud like the other girls or quick to laugh at nonsense. She preferred silence, long walks, and watching the river, not playing in it, but simply watching it, as if she was waiting for something to speak from its depths. The elders often said, "That one has a deep spirit." By the time she turned 18, Efua had turned many heads. Suitors came from across villages, farmers, traders, warriors. But Efua was never swayed until Aramu came home. He had been away for many years, hunting with his uncle in the northern forests. Aramu was tall, with skin like burnt bronze and eyes that didn't blink too much. He didn't talk for the sake of talking. He worked, listened, and spoke when it mattered. Efua noticed him one market day. He was buying bitter leaf for his mother, and she accidentally brushed against him. When she looked into his eyes, something paused in the air. It was as if the trees stopped rustling, the birds stopped flapping, and the earth itself watched. They were married in the old way, first with the blessings of their families, then with drumming and dancing that lasted 2 nights. Efua's mother spared no expense. She brought in a seamstress from the coast to make a dress unlike any Ijula had ever seen. It was white but not plain white. It shimmered with silk threads woven from the bark of the iroko tree, cowries lined the waist, and feathers from the egret bird decorated the shoulders. In its hem, Yemisi secretly sewed protective charms, crushed roots, river salt, and tiny bones of sacred fish. She must be safe. Yemisi told the seamstress. "There are spirits that don't forget promises." The wedding was set near the Great Baobab, where all village marriages happened. But the river was close. Too close. Arama suggested another location, but Efua insisted. "Let it be by the Baobab. That tree has seen many unions." And so it was. The morning of the wedding, the skies were a strange color, gray-green, like bruised leaves. Birds flew low. Chickens refused to leave their coops. The old priest murmured to himself that the wind had teeth that day. But the drums still played. The villagers danced. Efua was radiant, her dress glowing as if lit from within. She danced slowly, deliberately. Some said she seemed too calm, too quiet. When it came time to say the final blessing, a sudden gust of wind whipped through the crowd. Dust flew into eyes. The fire went out, and the river roared. The villagers turned in shock. River Abany, which had been calm all morning, had surged like a beast awoken. Waves crashed against the bank. Froth spilled over the grass. Then Efua dropped the gourd she was holding. Her eyes went blank. "Aramu," she whispered, as if she had forgotten his name. He ran to her. "Efua, what's wrong?" She stepped back. The dress began to hum. Yes, hum, as if it held its own voice. Cowries rattled like teeth. The feathers swayed, though there was no breeze. "I hear her," Efua said softly. Then she turned to the river. Efua walked, slowly, as if in a trance, toward the riverbank. Her bare feet barely made a sound, her dress dragging across the red soil like a ghost's whisper. The villagers parted like leaves in the wind, eyes wide, mouths open. Some crossed themselves. Others muttered old prayers their grandmothers used to say during thunderstorm nights. "Efua." Aramu called again, chasing after her. "Where are you going?" She didn't turn around. She didn't even flinch. The river called her. Not with a voice, no, it was older than speech. The call came from inside her bones, from the breath in her lungs, from the memory of her first heartbeat. It was the call of a promise long buried. Yemisi fell to her knees. "No," she wailed. "Please, not now. Not today." But the river was already rising. Its waters boiled up in waves that should not have been. The day had been clear, no rains upstream, no floods expected. Yet River Abany surged as if pulled by invisible hands, its surface shimmering with a light that was not from the sun. Efua stepped into the water, and the river parted. Not wildly, like a flood, but respectfully, like a maidservant welcoming a queen. The waters bent around her, folding into low, smooth ripples. Her wedding dress, which should have soaked through, remained dry, still glowing faintly. Arama dove in after her. The villagers gasped. He swam fast, strong, but every stroke brought him no closer. The river kept pushing him back, gently but firmly. He reached for her. His hand touched hers. For a moment, just one, Efua looked at him. Really looked. There was sorrow in her eyes. Sorrow deeper than age, than time. It wasn't fear. It was farewell. Then she spoke, not in her voice, but in a voice layered with thousands. "I was promised." A wave rose between them, smooth, silent, and impossibly high. When it fell, Efua was gone, and all that remained was her dress. The dress floated gently on the surface, spiraling in the current like a fallen blossom. The feathers, now soaked, curled inward. The cowries had turned dull. The fabric, once white as moonlight, began to sink. Yemisi ran forward, sobbing, clawing at her chest. "Take me instead," she screamed into the river. "It was my promise. My sin. Give her back." The river did not answer. Aramis stood waist, his arms hanging. His mouth opened, but no words came. The villagers dared not move. Even the drummers had stopped. The only sound was the slow, deliberate bubbling of the current. Then something strange happened. The river glowed. Not the whole surface, only a spot, where Efua had disappeared. The water shimmered golden blue, and from beneath, a shape rose. But it was not Efua. It was a woman, yes, but her face was not her own. Her eyes were endless pits, dark and bottomless, like wells with no bottom. Her hair was made of riverweed and braided snakes. Her body flowed like water, but shimmered like glass. Her fingers were long reeds, and around her waist, she wore Efua's dress. Except now, the dress had changed. The cowries clicked like teeth. The feathers stood upright like spines. The hem had lengthened, dragging behind her like a flowing veil of sea foam. The villagers dropped to the ground. Some screamed. Others wept. Children hid behind their mothers. One old man soiled himself. The spirit, Abony, the river bride, spoke, but not in words. She whispered into the hearts of all present. A promise made cannot be unmade. A soul given is a soul owned. The river remembers. Aramis stared at her, trembling. "Where is she?" he asked. His voice was rough, broken. Abony tilted her head. "She is here. And not. She dances below, wrapped in the silence you cannot follow." Then she reached into the water and pulled something out. It was a single cowrie shell, one from Efua's original dress. But this one was cracked, split right down the middle. She offered it to Aramu. He stepped back. "She loved you," the spirit whispered, "and love binds deeper than death." Then she turned and sank into the river. Just like that, she was gone. The waters calmed. The frogs returned. The air cleared. And Efua was no more. The days that followed were full of mourning. No one danced. No fire was lit near the riverbank. Aramu refused to speak, refused to eat, and on the third night, he left the village, taking only his spear and the cracked cowrie shell. No one ever saw him again. Yemisi went mad. She would wake up in the middle of the night screaming, "She wasn't yours." I took her back, and then she'd laugh, a horrible, wet laugh that made even the night birds stop singing. She began living near the river's edge, throwing pebbles into the current and muttering, "Bring her back, bring her back." The elders, shaken, declared a taboo. No marriage ceremonies by River Abony, no white dresses worn in Ijula, and no promises made to the water. But the river had tasted the offering, and once a god is fed, it hungers again. That year, another girl disappeared, then another. Not during weddings, just gone, always near the river. Some say they hear weeping under the water at night. Some say they see Efua walking along the bank during full moons, her feet leaving no prints, her dress still glowing. But the worst tale is this. If you stand too long near River Abony and whisper your wishes, a woman might appear, wearing a tattered wedding dress, her face half beautiful, half rotted. She will offer you love. She will promise joy. And if you say yes, you, too, will vanish into the water.